All right, welcome back to part 2 of Witches and Witchcraft. I'm your host, D.E. Riley. I hope you enjoyed what you've listened to so far on part 1. Hey, did you notice? Huh? At 23 minutes and 23 seconds, there's a growl that comes across on the recording in part 1. Go check it out. If you missed it, nobody else heard it. No one in the studio heard it. And I just picked it up on the replay when I was doing the editing. Scared the bejesus out of me. Go check it out. 23 minutes and 23 seconds. You're going to hear something growl. It almost sounds like something or someone is trying to put 2 words together or 2 syllables, but I cannot make out what it is. Take a listen to it. Let me know if you can figure out what they're trying to say. Anyway, we're going to get back to it again. With myself and these 5 absolutely lovely witches that we have in the studio tonight. And you guys hold on, man, because it's going to get crazy now. This is just the beginning. It gets really wild. So hang on, guys, and enjoy yourselves. So let me butt in here. Is there anyone out there that has any questions? I'm going to kind of steer it back into the realm of witchcraft again here, because we have so many different paths and so many different practitioners. Is there something anyone wants to know about anyone else's practice? Feel free to
Absolutely.
ask. Okay, don't let us dominate the conversation.
A million questions, basically, because like I said, I'm still learning about like where I want to actually set my path, as far as like if I were to just pick one. But like you had said, what about the dreams? What did you call that?
As far as like divination through dreams,
like the ones that kind of feel like deja vu.
Lucid dreaming, right?
Or out of body experiences, OBEs.
You had
like the astral projecting
something.
Unromantic.
Yeah, no, the one Audra said.
Being unromantic.
Yes.
It's like that's divination through dreams, which isn't, and it's like prophetic dreams. Unfortunately, what I was getting at with mine, I know mine turned into really long stories. Is that's kind of just always been a thing for me. So I always knew that, dream work and spirit work, there was no way I could get away from it. Like that is my practice. So sorry, go ahead. Continue with your question.
Okay. It's just how, I guess basically my question would be like how you manage it, because since I was young, I didn't know there was a word for it. And this was like when I was 9 or 10. I was in like the 4th grade. And my dad had I didn't know she was a girlfriend at the time, but she was around a lot, and she watched us 3 kids at the time. And I had this weird dream because I was supposed to go with her to her apartment the next day, and then we were going to meet my dad somewhere for like lunch or whatever. And I had a dream that we were in a car crash and a drunk driver hit us. And I was like, it jolted me awake. I was wide awake, 9 a.m. like, and as a kid, that's kind of early, And so I like ran downstairs, and she was already at the house, and my dad looked at me and he's like, your brother's going with her, not you. I absolutely threw the biggest hissy fit for a 10-year-old. I started screaming, crying, like, no, he can't go. Like, something bad's gonna happen. He can't go. And sure enough, later that day, they were on their way back to where we were so we could all go to lunch. And EMS went by my grandfather's house, because that's where we were at, working on the vehicles together. EMS went by, and I just had this god awful feeling in my chest. I'm like, it happened. Like, I couldn't, at that young, like, you can't really put words to it. And I just looked at my dad. I'm like, it happened. He's like, what happened? And I don't think it was 5 minutes later before his phone rang. Because we lived in a really small town, like one stoplight town. Everyone knows everyone. And he got a direct call from the EMS responder. He's like, your son's going to the hospital.
Oh, no.
And so my dad, like, left us with his father, my grandfather, and he, like, rushed off to the hospital. And it turned out that I found out later on the news that night, because they all thought I was asleep. But I wasn't. Yeah. I was listening to the news, and it turns out that she was DOA, and she didn't make it.
Wow. Oh my God.
Like you said, carrying that guilt from, like, your friend. Wow. And, like, I related to that so hard, because I'm like, still, it's been, oh my God, it's been almost 15 years. And like every year, I'm like, I don't know how this happened. Because it's like, I feel like I'm like, I could have stopped it. I could have stopped this from happening. When realistically, like, as a 10-year-old, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is, and Audra and I have talked about this before. I'm from the South. My family's from the South. If you guys have noticed, the y'all I throw in now and then. And my mom was always very sensitive, and she called it feelings. You know, when she had her feelings, she was dead on. She knew, you know, and it didn't matter where you were in this world. If something was wrong with you, she knew, and she knew exactly what it was. So yeah, there's a connection there, you know, that some people are more in tune with than others are, and you probably are, you know, very in tune with that particular side of your being. Your
it's something that, like, still continues to happen, just not as frequently. Off, you know, like, that was the first time, like, I remembered it happening. And then you guys were talking about lucid dreaming too, and like a lot of things are clicking to me while you guys are talking, and I'm like, oh my God, that's what's been happening in my life. Because I used to also dream about, like, my mom's parents' house. It was this old, like, little, it was like a 2-story, like, shack, if you can imagine that. Like, it was small, but it was 2 stories. It was really strange. But I would always have these.
I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off for a second. No, that's okay. Do you have dreams? Because, like, this, the way that you started it off, led me to want to ask this question. Is it almost like sometimes when you have these dreams, you're like a fly on the wall, just kind of watching, but, like, you're very aware of what's going on? Because that's a lot of the times when, if it's not a spirit directly connecting with me, it is like, it's like, especially if it's dealing with, like, prophetic dreams where I'm seeing what's going to happen with someone who's living, it's almost like I'm a fly on the wall. Or if I'm reliving something, you know, fly on the wall watching it all happen.
A lot of the time it is, if they're those dreams that, like, I get that deja vu feeling, like, when they actually happen. A lot of the times it does feel like I'm just, like, a super connected fly on the wall. But there's other times that, like, it's actually me. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm the one walking in my own shoes in the dream, which is where my grandparents' house came into play. But, like, in the dream, it had all these, like, weird secret passageways and stuff. And, like covered in cobwebs, hadn't been touched in, like, 100 years, it seemed like, in the dream. And, like, this is where I think now after hearing all you guys talk, like it seems like I might also be able to lucid dream, but I just never knew it. Like I was doing it on accident.
Yeah.
And like I would wake up in cold sweats and covered in cobwebs and like sometimes scratches.
Yep, that's happened to
I'm
me.
like, this is weird and gross. Time to take a shower.
Yep. Yep. You know something? It's funny that you say that. So, first off, I'm gonna say that, you know, it definitely sounds like if you practiced, you very well, like if you, because like I'm still practicing and I still don't have a full harness on it. I can't control when it happens. But it does happen very often. More so now than when I was a child, but I think that's because now I pay attention to it. I definitely think that you very well could be unrealmantic. I would do some research into that because although it's not uncommon, it kind of is. It's like hard to explain. Like I've never met anybody else who had those kinds of dreams. And if I have, it was only like, once in a while, and you know, they chalk it up to coincidence. You know, you were talking about waking up with scratches. For the longest time. So I work probably not the best. I work with an entity who has been with me my entire life. And he is not good. He is not a very nice person. Not even a person. He's an entity. But all three of my kids have seen him, and they call him TT. So, TT, who I believe it's him, I went through a period where I felt like it was sleep paralysis, but it wasn't. There was no way it was sleep paralysis. And that's just me saying, because I've been through a million things when it comes to sleep and dreaming. And, you know, I'm Freddy Krueger's like dream come true, I swear to God. But this thing, I would have these, I'd be awake, I'd be conscious, and I would have this thing come into my room, hover over me, and it almost had like praying mantis hands, if that makes any sense. But he was big, and like
a succubus.
Kind of, but he's like, I don't know how to explain it, but he would like his stupid little praying mantis hands, which weren't little, they were big. As I would struggle and try and move and speak, which I couldn't, it would impale me through the chest, and I'd wake up in like a gasp, you know, and the next day it would literally, I would have this sharp pain through the center of my chest all the way through my back. And it was funny because I was joking with my husband, and I was like, how funny would it be if I went for like a CAT scan or an MRI and they found like massive damage inside my like chest cavity, like scarring. So I've dealt with that like physical pain from dreams, and you know, scratches and bite marks, and you know, comes with walking that left-handed path, I guess. I'm little. I'm just a demon.
Okay.
Attractant, I guess.
Speaking of left-handed path, I think Heather, you still out there? You still awake?
Yes, I'm still here.
Did you have some questions for Audra concerning a type of magic?
Yes.
Just like, I don't know, because like I'm more of like on the protection side of things. Like I'm like make protection jars for like family and friends, which I actually want to like start selling here in like as like a little side hustle, I guess. Because you know, adulting life is a struggle.
It is 100%.
But I'm trying to dabble into like the hexing and I don't know what else to like call it.
Well, I mean, you have your it's like tiers, you know. You've got your jinxes, which are just like minor inconveniences. You have your hexes, which are bigger inconveniences, and then you have your curses to completely uproot people's lives. So you know,
you could look
there's quite a few.
into you could look into hoodoo.
So you want
Yeah, hoodoo. That
Voodoo?
kind of
Hoodoo.
sounds more like maybe
Yeah.
something that might interest you, to see if that's something that you're attracted to.
Yeah, hoodoo and all of that stuff. The only thing, and I'm gonna speak out about this, and this may be controversial to some people. Anyone who's ended up on like Witch Talk, have you guys heard about the closed practices? Like, you can't practice.
Yeah, open and closed. Yeah,
like-
yeah, but I don't think hoodoo. I don't think hoodoo's closed. Depending on like, from what I've read and what I've practiced, there's certain probably forms of it that are, but like just general hoodoo, I think you can be okay with. It's not a closed practice, from what I understand.
Well, the thing that I'm getting at with that is, I don't believe that anything like that should be a closed practice. I mean, if someone needs to be, you know, brought in or whatever, they should be able to seek someone out and be brought in to it. You know, it's just, that's like Florida water. They say Florida water is a closed practice. Burning sage is a closed practice, and it's just,
I'm with you on that. If it comes from the earth, nobody owns it as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I use sage, I use lots of different stuff, and the thing I like about hoodoo per se is that it's always about so it be justified.
yes.
So in reality, you're not cursing them or you're not hexing them. When you say, if it be justified, that's up to the fates. Like, that's up to other powers that be. Because if you're casting and it's not justified, then you also have to think it might bounce back on you too, right? If it's not justified. But if it's justified, then so let it be. You know, what's going to happen will happen.
Yeah. Well, my question with that is, if it is a quote unquote closed practice, aren't you dooming yourself to have that practice die? Don't you have to have new people coming in and someone to guide them into that practice to keep it alive?
Well, you'd think so. And I think I understand the principle of closed practices in the way that I do believe that there should be proper teachings and respect about these things. But I don't think it should be like, oh, you're closed because you're not from this culture, or you're closed because you're not from this bloodline.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily believe in that. I think, though, it is very important to have proper teachings passed to you and proper training, because there's a lot of things going on, and I see it in my field of work of, how do I put that? How do I put it? People wearing clothes and saying all the right words and pretending to be something they're not, without actually practicing and without actually having proper initiations and training and education. So that's where I'm at on that. And Amy's like, Well,
I mean, it's so easy to take something like this lightly. And, you know, in this, as well as, if you want to go flip the other side of the coin, as well as Christianity, I mean, you're going to have your charlatans. You're going to have those that aren't taking it seriously, but they're just in it to impress or make a buck or whatever. And God knows, any Sunday morning you turn on a TV, you can find a whole bunch of those guys out there, you know, that are just simply preaching the word of God just to make $1, you know. And the funny thing is, my wife has a Bible. She came across the other day of her grandmother's that she got from Oral Roberts, and you open it up, and the first page is this huge 8x10 photograph of Oral Roberts. It's like, you kidding me? Jesus doesn't even have his picture in the Bible, and this guy's got it on the front page. You know, this is, you know, but it's so blatantly obvious sometimes. But you know, there are going to be those people out there, you know, and unfortunately, and you know, and I say this, it's like they're delving into things that they have just glossed across the surface. They know just enough to get by on, and they make up the rest. You know. And it makes it hard for people like you know, you all, to seriously practice this and to be taken seriously. You know, once again, it's like, yeah, you're a witch. Yeah, right. You know,
and that's
you know,
you know, a lot of people make a mockery of it now because of the people, you know, like everybody practices differently. Okay. And they do. It's just, you know, certain things work for other people. It really, the way that I see it is it really comes down to what you really put your energy into. I don't care if it is a crystal or it is, you know, a cat head, you know, it's just, you know, it is what you choose or how you choose to practice. Although I will say, so I dabble in tarot cards. I am not fluent in them by any means, but I'm going to tell you, I can't even, and I understand the majority are up for interpretation, but I couldn't even begin to tell you, especially scrolling through TikTok, how many people are throwing tarot cards out and it's like they're just throwing out a meaning with it. And I'm like, that doesn't represent that at all. Like, you know,
exactly.
So, and like I said, I am not 100% schooled in tarot cards. I only just recently picked up tarot cards maybe a year ago.
Tarot cards, I find they're harder. Like I resonate with oracle cards because I feel like I can, you know, get my energies. Like tarot's like a skill. Like you can't just willy-nilly take tarot cards like you see people on TikTok just like read note something. Like you like that there's a skill to tarot, like hugely. Not saying there's not a skill to oracle, but oracle is more like energies and, you know, kind of going with intuition, whereas tarot is, I know you still do that, but it's like that's a crazy skill for tarot. That they frighten me.
That's why it's so hard to, like, you know, master. Like these people who are actually slinging tarot cards, and you know, they're really doing these readings and they're doing them properly. They have been practicing for years and years and years, and it's like, I don't know. Like,
But the thing with tarot though is that everyone thinks it's like it can predict the future when it doesn't. I tell people like it's more of like a guideline.
Exactly.
Like you choose your own fate, and like I've been dealing with tarot cards like since like I was in college. And I started picking them up, and it's actually everyone thinks it's hard, and that like how you guys said it was like a skill or whatever. It's actually relatively easy. If I said that correctly, I don't know.
Really? I see. Yeah. I've been trying to study them more and more, and it's like, it's
practice.
It is.
It's a lot of practice because how to place them, where to put them, if they're upside down, if they're right side up, and past, present, future, and then all the designs you can put them in. It's like, whoa! I'm just like, I'll shuffle an energy card or an oracle card, and then one flies out. I'm like, there we go. There's the message for you today.
Because like even if you ask them to like if you're shuffling them and waiting for them to fly out, you could even ask like your spirit guides or spirits or whatever you like look at saying, just give me a couple more cards, and they will literally like shoot out a couple more cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Now, Heather, you were going on with the hexes. Do you have any other questions? You know, I know, like I was just about to answer you, and then we got into a whole thing. This happens a lot on this show, by the way. We like get sidetracked, so just yell and be like, "Hey, you didn't answer my question, man." So,
well, actually,
you mean we have a set format on this show? Not everything here happened by accident.
Yeah.
But like, I would just more like talk about like with the hexing or like jinxing or whatever. But also like, how can you tell like what deities like follow you or something like that? Like, I don't know if that will also like go into like the whole dark magic or
so. It was actually one of my next questions that I was going to ask you, ladies, if you work with any deities, and if so, who? So I actually currently work with work with two. I work with Sekhmet. I work with Lilith, heavily with Lilith and Sekhmet. There's others that I'm trying to figure out the signs for, but I have friends who work with Loki, you know, and I don't know any of those signs from Loki. But the best way that I can explain on how to figure out which deity is trying to work with you would be, you know, look up their correspondence, you know, colors and animals. And like, I know if Lucifer wants to work with somebody, he will send crows, he will send feathers, you know, and you'll see an uptick with Lilith. Spiders are a big thing. And I literally see spiders everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. So, you know, with Sekhmet, that was more so being drawn to her. And she's an Egyptian deity, which was interesting, but it kind of makes sense. She kind of she kind of coincides with like my zodiac. She is the goddess of war and destruction, believe it or not. And, you know, she's a dark feminine entity, deity, but she's a woman with the head of a lion. And I'm a Leo.
She's also healing too, though.
Yeah.
You can work with her to do healing as well, because I've worked with her with healing, because she actually has really incredible healing power.
I wanna see if does she? So you said healing, and I want to say that she was also the goddess of medicine, as well. But I believe there was another Egyptian goddess that also was that. Maybe that was Bastet. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. But I know that there's Sekhmet magic and for healing.
Yeah.
So yeah, incantations and different energies you channel and stuff through her. So would you consider her a dark goddess, or would you consider her both? Because if she's doing healing and the goddess of medicine, which is healing, I would consider her both dark and light.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider her both dark and light. And I mean, even Lilith and Hecate and all of them, you know,
Hecate. We call in Hecate a lot.
Yeah. So you see, I think it really depends on, not that it depends. I think they're all dark goddesses. I mean, there's always a balance, you know, but here I am choosing the dark, you know, not choosing it, but that's what I pay attention to.
Yeah. No, we use especially when we're doing paranormal stuff and we're going into a very intense situations. Like Amy and I have slept in very haunted jails where there have been multiple hangings, and we sleep there. And so things like situations, for fun. We do that for fun. So situations like that, we really call upon Hecate. We actually have an altar we set up when we go into. That's why when it was interesting, because we use paranormal, but we use our witchcraft in our paranormal, because we make an altar. We call upon Hecate to protect us when we're going into these darker situations, so that we remain safe. Because I personally don't like how negative energies feel or dark energies feel in my field. It just takes a lot out of me physically. So I tried, we experience them, trust me, but I just don't want them to stick to me. I don't want to be dragging it home to my family.
Nope. Attachments are never fun.
Okay, we just had our gremlin strike. It kicked Sam out, and she's been trying for like the last 5 minutes to get back on. She'd get in, but it'd kick her right back out again. Now I'm hearing myself from somebody. I don't.
Whoa!
Oh, whoa!
Turn the speaker down, Sam. And I'm going to interrupt here. Heather, what's going on your end? I'm getting a lot of stuff over there. It sounds like there's a demon in. She get in, but it kick her right back out again. Now I'm hearing myself.
The demon is
John. Sorry, what the hell's going on, man?
I am partaking in my own witchcraft right now. Excuse me if you hear bubbling.
His computer setup is in the living room, and so he's playing his PS4. He just got home from work, and his PS4 is hooked up to the living room TV.
All right, well, out of all respect, John, we're doing a podcast show here, so shut the hell up, all right?
Slow down.
Listen, if I had to put a muzzle on my 5-year-old for this, okay, then you need to put a muzzle on your TV.
They can hear that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
He lowered it.
I like John. Don't worry about it.
Wow. You sounded like such a dick. With all due respect, John, we're trying to do a podcast here. Like, shut the hell up.
Sounded like a dick.
Nicer than that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, ask my wife; she'll tell you. I know John also.
You can stay.
So.
Remember
the D.E. Riley.
That's
the D stands for dick, and the
E
stands for. Don't discredit it.
Okay, all right.
It's good tech.
All right. But anyway, back to what we're talking about.
Back on track. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
Okay, so I've also been seeing crows and owls and everything, and like buzzard hawks, like feathers everywhere.
Interesting. Crows, owls.
Owls are messengers from the dead.
I do have an altar dedicated to Athena, Morgan, and Hela.
Now, in the Native American beliefs, owls are messengers of the dead. So, if you're seeing owls, then someone is trying to communicate with you from the other side.
Why can't they just write a letter and just?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Now, interestingly enough, you said that you have an altar set up to Athena. So owls, they actually represent and accompany Athena. So that very well could be a sign directly from Athena, especially if you are sending, or especially if you have an altar set up. to her.
Do you have the altar with all three of the goddesses together, or are they separate altars? Because some goddesses do not like to share
they
altar
don't.
space.
No, I will tell you right now, Sekhmet and Lilith, they don't like to share.
Neither does Hecate.
All three of them are together, actually, and
Okay.
they've been together for months, and nothing's like gone wrong or anything like that with my altar, except one of my tarot cards that
Okay.
came in the mail one time just kind of disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if my daughter took it from my altar or what.
Or the crows took it, or the owls took it. You got a lot of stuff going on there.
I mean, if they could try and get into my apartment, that would kind of be impressive.
Yeah.
So have any of you, anyone else here, tried scrying to receive messages or have a more controlled interaction with things that you're channeling with?
I've tried, and it seems like I'm also like how Audra is right now, like in a spiritual block.
Mm-hmm.
I scry in mirrors. That's fun.
Yeah, fun.
You know that. You're there with
I
your
like
weapon.
that. That's fun.
It's fun time. We see things. We see things when we do it.
Every time I look in a mirror, there's a whole lot of shit I don't want to see.
That's kind of where I'm leaning towards it. I deal with a lot of body hoppers. Interestingly enough, body hoppers are not my favorite, and I definitely have a thing with mirrors, and it's definitely like that superstition. Like, well, I say superstition, but it's really not. But like,
Oh no!
Did you lose them?
No, I think we're back.
We all went.
That was
time.
that was weird.
It
My
just
whole
started
screen just
completely
went.
over. That was
Yep.
weird.
And then, yeah,
It went.
Yeah,
It
completely started
growled.
over. I actually.
well,
Okay.
Oh,
1 second. David, did that other side save?
I'm hoping it did. It saves. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
it saves to the cloud.
It's starting.
So it's on the
Okay.
cloud, and it sits pretty much constantly at 99%. So I'm pretty sure that all of that
Lord.
is saved. Okay, that
Cool.
is our gremlin,
All right.
ladies. That's what we deal
Wow.
with damn near every show. And you just experienced it big time. And it's funny that it hit everyone across the board at the same
I
time.
know. I'm just gonna name him Mortimer.
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 Well, we are, I don't even know where we're at. To be quite honest with you, we've got, now we're in a minute. And sorry, folks,
And it
anyone
growled
out there
when it came
is
back
listening
online.
right now,
It went.
we just
I was
had our
like,
gremlin strike
what?
again, and it literally shut 6 people down at one time.
Yeah.
Um,
It farted on us.
Exactly. It just kind of came in here, farted on everybody, and left again. And so we're
It even make a sound for me. Just went like silent death.
it didn't even go silent for me. I could hear everybody. That wasn't the problem. It just came up. The whole screen just said you're not recording.
It was
You're
pretty
offline.
intense.
And then
I heard
turned
the
around
growl.
and
I
popped
heard
right
the
back
growl.
on again. So
Yeah, there was a growl.
there was a growl there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't hear that. I hope
Weird.
I hope it was recorded. I didn't hear it on my end, but that's
We were
me.
just
So yeah, that's that's our
Wow.
gremlin. That's our show gremlin. So
Yeah.
I apologize to you ladies. I'm hoping and praying that came through, and I'm sure it did. I'm pretty confident that it did because it is saved to the cloud.
Okay.
So
I was just gonna say that I bought Amy and I a black obsidian scrying mirror that we use specifically for
such a
scrying,
different
and it is way better than just in any old mirror. It's completely
Well, whatever you guys just touched on, apparently pissed somebody off because they just censored the whole shebang right there.
I'm just gonna say it. It seems like every time I go and say something, and it's like, nope, shut up, Audra. Stop giving away secrets. Don't talk about body hoppers.
Tonya was talking about the scrying mirror, the black obsidian. It is such a different experience from going in the regular mirror. It almost feels like when you go in the regular mirror, you're going in and you're like with them and you're going into places. But when you look in the obsidian mirror, it's amazing because it's like there's a block. It's like they're looking out to you and they can't get to you. Like they look at you and they come through, but they can't touch you. Like it's just fascinating. I love our obsidian mirror.
It's a very different experience.
It feels way safer. You feel safer. It's like, oh yeah, look at me all you want. You can't get me. You can't be getting me. You know, like they can't get you. Like I feel like when we do the regular mirrors, it's almost like you're very vulnerable because you're going into their space, and it's like, whoa, like you really got to put your protection on hard when you go in a regular mirror, and you don't know what you're going into at all. But like I don't know, the obsidian mirror, it's like almost like you're an observer in a way. Like you're going in and they're observing you, you're observing them. There's like this block. It's just so much different, and it feels. It's like I don't want to look in any other mirror after having the obsidian mirror. Like I don't want to or need to.
So
it's like
that's my thing.
Yeah.
I like that. Sounds really cool. I don't like mirrors, and it's not.
Well, I don't either. Like because I naturally scry, and ask Amy. Like when we go to all the places, all the locations, because we did like we filmed a whole pilot episode, and so we went to all these different places, and every place we stayed at, I always the room we slept in, I put a blanket, or even if it was my clothes, I put clothes on top of the mirror because I'm like, I don't know where this mirror's been. I don't know what it's seen, and I don't want to sleep with it.
Yeah. Now, do you guys believe in like the whole mirrors not facing each other as an open? Because
that makes a portal.
Yep.
Oh, it's a portal.
Yeah,
a portal.
I have a thing with that. It kind of drives me nuts.
No way.
So like my mirrors in my bathroom, like my cabinets. So if you open them up, it's literally 3 mirrors looking facing directly at each other in a triangle. And like my kids always like put their faces in it and like pull it close, and they're staring into it, and it's like this abyss of mirrors. And I'm like, shut it.
No. Yeah, shut that shit down.
Something is gonna like come out and bite your face. Stop it. Not literally, but you know what I mean.
So I have a question for some of the people, for you guys, like all you other witches. So like, for example, I like to use crystals, oracle cards, pendulum. I love my planchette. It's like my planchette like has a pencil in it, and I channel the energy
like an automatic writer.
I get messages written through me. Like I draw pictures or words through the planchette. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's freaking my favorite thing of life. And so I'm just wondering, do you guys use any like kind of tools or anything in your guys' stuff? Like what kind of stuff do you guys use?
I use my pendulum. I have a spirit board actually. Like it's actually not a Ouija board because it doesn't say Ouija board. It's actually a spirit board that I got at a metaphysical shop. I have dowsing rods, and I have like maybe like 20 tarot decks.
What's the last one?
20 tarot decks.
Oh yeah. It's like once you buy one deck, you can't just stop at one. I have like 20 as well.
It's a bad addiction.
It is. Because they all speak to you. Like you're in the store, and you're like, ooh, they jump at you, and like you can't like once you see it, you can't not take it.
Yeah, like I went to Barnes.
It's crazy. I only have one, and I
went to Barnes and Noble, and there's the Office one. Like, have you guys seen The Office?
Yes.
There's an Office tarot deck, and every time I went to Barnes, yes, there is. I actually have it. because every time I went to Barnes and Noble, it was like still there. I'm like, all right, the next time I see it, I'll get the next time I come in. And then, but every time I went in, like I didn't have enough money for it. And then the one time I actually had enough money for it, it was still there. I'm like, all right, it's a sure sign to get it. So I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh my god. So I use my pendulum. It's Howlite pendulum, and I don't know why I was like drawn to it. It was the first pendulum I ever got. So that's probably one of my favorites. Even like it's funny because there's like when I first got it, it's like that thing, even when I'd be driving, that thing would dangle from my hand. You know, it was just attached to me. I could not put it down. And not even for something that's like to fidget with, you know, it just, I didn't feel right just putting it down. Like it had to be on me.
Now,
So
you
bad.
guys mentioned being drawn to things. This is something that my wife noticed a long time ago. Back when we were dating, I would go down to Austin, Texas, and visit her, and they had a huge bookstore down there called Book People. And it literally was massive. It was the coolest place ever, you know, and I am drawn to bookstores anyway. But every time we went there, I was drawn into the metaphysical section. You know, I was constantly there. And I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was looking for. There was nothing in particular, but I would stand there the whole time and just scan the books. And she finally came over to me and she goes, you know, every time we come in here, you're doing the same thing. You walk over the same section, stand in the same place, and you look at the same books. And she goes, somebody is trying to tell you something, and you need to listen a little closer. And I could never figure out what it was, but for some reason, I had to go there. I was compelled to go there, and I could not stop myself from going to that section every time we went there. I would start out other places, but always end up there. So, you know, it's like to this day, I have no idea who was trying to tell me what, you know, at that particular time, other than, you know, spend your money foolishly, which I did, you know, quite often. But, you know, I just, it was just strange, and I could not control myself. I was totally, once I walked in there, it was done. You know, no matter how hard I tried to stay away from that,
I don't know. I think
drawn back
when you're
every time
in tune with the world around you, especially when in a way you have to be when it comes to being a practitioner of witchcraft, you know, you get called to like certain energies of things. So like for me, as silly as it is, it's like I'm like, I have a plethora of crystals, but there's specific stones that I can't have enough of. You know what I mean? Like bloodstone,
all protection stones,
obsidian. What else? So I only have one piece, but I am so obsessed with it. I have moldavite.
Moldavite. Moldavite.
Oh, moldavite. Tonya has a story for that one.
I am in love with this stone.
Not everybody can wear that stone.
And it's on me
That's so powerful.
All the time. I have a friend.
Mine was too until we got struck by lightning.
Oh my god.
We got hit by lightning in our car, and Tonya saved the day with her moldavite, and it's a crazy story.
Yeah, I had a moldavite ring, and I wore it all the time. I love moldavite, and we were at the Celtic shamanism 3-day retreat, and we were driving back after the second day to my house, and it started to just storm out of nowhere. And the car actually got hit by lightning. And at that time, my hand, I don't even know, it wasn't even me doing it, but my hand that had the Moldavite just reached up to the roof of the car, and the gem, the Moldavite out of the ring disappeared. And there was 4 of us who witnessed the entire thing.
That's amazing.
It was crazy.
That's amazing. I have a friend who, she was originally the one who told me about Moldavite, and she had bought a piece for herself, and she wore it, and she like tried to force herself to wear it, but her, like, she said the migraines she would get wearing it were unbelievable. But everything that I've read on Moldavite, it's like if the universe does not think you're ready for that Moldavite, it's not going to cooperate with you, essentially. I don't know how true that is, but
it's frequency wise, like the vibration, it's very energetically, it's very strong. So I know people who can't even have it in the house. Yep. So it's a very strong stone. Like the energies it carries is very potent. Yep. So not everybody can carry it. But our teacher, she's an incredible shaman, and she said what happened was that the Moldavite went into me physically. So she's like, you still have the Moldavite, but it's inside of you. And I was like, oh, cool.
That is cool. My Moldavite is always on me. It's a fairly large piece. Most of the time when you get Moldavite in jewelry, it's it's a chip. It's fairly small. This one is probably a good 2 inches. Like it's a big piece. So I have it. So I keep it in a satchel, like a very small little satchel. And it's usually in my pocket or it's in my purse, if you know what I mean. So it's always on me. But I'm obsessed with it. There was at one point I couldn't find it and I damn near cried. So
yeah, I'm a novice when it comes to that. I was just looking it up online, and it says its nickname, the Stone of Transformation, is thought to be created from a meteorite that crash landed 14.8 million years ago, and is believed to have crashed in the present-day Czech Republic. So there you go, and it is just chock full of energy. So that's probably why it gives some people headaches, because it is so loaded with energy. This thing it's amazing. It radiates energy. Yeah. It says at first touch you can feel the warmth it's giving off. So I have never come in contact with it. I am fascinated now. That is amazing.
For a while, they were saying it was like an extraterrestrial stone, and it's space glass. It's from essentially a meteorite impact, which you just said. Obviously, I'm just repeating things now.
Well, what about Moldavite incense? Does that do anything?
I've never heard of that.
Because I actually have some at my apartment.
Hold on. I want to look it up now.
Okay.
It says it pairs well with Herkimer diamonds and rose quartz, which Herkimer diamonds is very prevalent in the area that I am in.
I do. I actually have quite a few.
Do you?
They're gorgeous.
They're
I also got like a rose quartz pendulum. I have a pyrite pendulum. Then I had a lithium one, but I actually gave that to my mom because she wants to start getting more into that. Like she's the Catholic one of my parents, and my dad's a Christian one. So it's like with my mom getting into it, she just wants to learn more about it because she had a stereotypical bad rap about all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then once I actually like came out to her about it, at first she was like, well, if I would have took you to church more and hammered it more in your head, I'm like, Mom, you sent me to Catholic school from like basically grade school to high school.
Yeah.
If it didn't stick, it was not gonna stick.
Yeah, exactly.
And now she's actually learning more about it because of me being a part of it.
Huh.
Was it you that said that your mom or your grandma had to wear the long skirts?
No, I think
was me.
Okay, who said that?
Yeah.
Samandra.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, were they Pentecostal?
That's what
I'm
went
pretty
to.
sure,
Pentecostal
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I have a tendency to mix them up though because I don't.
What's the other one?
Is it like Mormon or something?
There's Mormons. There's the really strict Mormons. There's also Mennonites will also sometimes wear the long skirts like that.
There's another one with
Yeah.
a P, and I can't think of it. Not
Presbyterian?
Pentecostal. What was it?
No.
Pescatarian. No, not pescatarian.
Pescatarian.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't eat
Whatever.
meat.
Okay,
I
that's
just
settled. Let's
Googled
get
it.
away from religion. Let's put that on the back seat. Put it on the back burner. Because if I get in the middle of this, it's going to get nasty.
Listen, religion has a lot to do with witchcraft. They burned us, man. Well, actually,
so, like the ones that like were honest about it, they actually did not burn. They hung them. The ones that would deny it, they burned.
Mm-hmm. The real witches.
And I mean, the biggest witch hunt there was in Europe itself. And between the years of 1500 and 1660,
Joan
there
of
was
Arc
80,000 suspected witches put to death. 80,000.
Some reports say it's up to 6 million.
Yeah, and the funny thing is when I did this, that was followed by the line of 80% of them were women, thought to be in cahoots with the devil and filled with lust.
I mean, hot damn.
I love it. I love it.
Well, hot damn.
I mean, are they wrong? Not really.
Hot damn.
Well, it had a lot to do with the healing. It had to do with healing, and oddly enough, it had to do with the beer industry.
The beer?
The beer industry. A lot of the things that you associate with witches, like the pointy hats, the broomsticks, the cauldrons, the cats, actually came from alewives, which were the brewmeisters. They brewed the beer.
Huh.
And because they had the grain to make the beer, and the beer would be in the cauldrons, like the big pots. They had to keep cats to keep the mice away, and they would wear pointy hats in the market so that people could see them. Now, they were accused of being witches. So guess where the beer industry went after that?
Downhill.
Well, downhill, but think about who really runs the beer industry is the patriarch.
Yep.
This is true.
Same with the healing. The doctors in the white coats. So there's a lot, there was a lot that happened out of, taking that away from the women, from the witches.
Now, since we're speaking on history.
Uh-oh. We lost her.
We lost Andrea?
Gremlin got her.
Wait, there she comes.
I'm here.
Damn gremlin, I tell you what. You back, baby?
Listen, Morty, he can't keep me away. So,
wow.
What I was getting at, since we're talking about the history, does anybody here, because I had spoken about being a generational or hereditary witch, does anyone else know of or are have a history of witchcraft in their lineage.
I actually like, have you guys done like that DNA testing stuff?
Yep, and that's where I'm coming in next.
Because it actually shows that I do have like some Scandinavian in me.
Yep.
I have like Irish, Welsh, Scottish. I'm like all I'm a mutt of the Europeans. So
yeah.
And also like my great grandma, she actually like read playing cards instead of tarot cards.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That sounded upsetting. Yeah. I think my mother and grandmother were, but because we were in the religious situation that we were, it was not something that was discussed or talked about. My mom had her feelings, like, you know how you're talking about the feelings. My mom had those things happen all the time,
right?
Where she would have feelings and then they would come true. Yep. She also was, you know, a medicine woman too. She grew a lot of herbs and she brewed a lot of things and she made a lot of poultices and a lot of all sorts of remedies. So yeah, she had gifts and she made medicine. So she was a witch.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry about that. My daughter started crying, but then she stopped crying. So, but also my grandma, my dad's mom, she did some palm reading. So like they did all this stuff without like me knowing exactly what it was. But yet they were like hardcore, like into God and everything like that, which is not a bad thing. Like that was their higher belief system and everything like that. It just, for whatever reason, my soul said, no, you're not going that path. You have to go another path.
Okay. So, I was speaking with a friend of mine who is, you know, much more schooled than I am as far as being a practitioner. And we were having a conversation and they said, you know, have you ever looked into your family history? And I said, nope, not really. And I said, you might want to do that because, you know, basically the universe is telling them something and that I need to really pay attention to. And mind you, this also goes with a generational contract. So I did some digging and I actually, I got as far back into my lineage as far as like the 1500s. So I came across a guy who was my whatever, he'd be my 11th or 10th great grandfather. And his name was Thomas Francis of Savoy. His grandmother or his great grandmother was Catherine de Medici. Which was really interesting because if you read back, and I knew nothing about her. I know she's portrayed in like movies or whatever she has been, but she's like a historical figure. So what a lot of people don't know about her is she was considered a serpent queen. She wasn't meant to be any sort of royalty in France, but she was basically like married into the French royal family or whatever. She was Italian, and this is on my dad's side. So she wasn't very well liked in France, but she was suspected of witchcraft because she kept consorts with necromancers and Nostradamus, famous astrologer. But if you read there, she's been suspected of creating the Black Mass in 15th or 16th century Europe, which is really interesting. So if I have a generational contract over my head somewhere, it's because she was playing with things that she shouldn't have been playing with, or her family was playing with things that they shouldn't have been playing with. So, but that's where my lineage goes. So obviously, when you really think about it, though, that long ago, that bloodline is essentially dead. It's been filtered out. That's just how it goes. But aside from that, further on down that line with my on my dad's side, his mother was Native American, and her father practiced shamanism. So that was kind of interesting. And apparently, and I never met her, she died 2 days before I was born. And my dad likes to joke and say that I'm his mother reincarnated, because she used to always have her pinky up. And when I was born, the first thing I did when they gave me my bottle was put my pinky up. She did. So that was really interesting. So, I mean, there's definitely history there. And I mean, I partially blame my family for, the path that was given to me, and whatever generational contract or curse, I guess it depends on how you look at it. My sister didn't get any of this shit. Like nothing. She sits at home and she's perfectly fine and content, and like doesn't have ghosts or spirits or anything manifesting her way, and she doesn't like see things.
It's kind of the same way in my family, Audra. Excuse me. My brother doesn't get anything, at all. My sister, on the other hand, is up there with me. So it's like we got it and he didn't. And he's, he absolutely believes in what we say and what the message we try to convey, but he's never experienced it himself, other than the ghosts in the haunted house that we lived in. He did experience that firsthand, but other than that, everything else is just a mystery to him. And he, it's funny because he's almost like jealous of us because he can't, see the things that we see and do the things that we do. We just lost somebody in here.
Amy had to get off because it's like 12:09 where she's at.
All right, but we're gonna have to kind of wrap this up, guys. So if there's anything the last minute y'all want to get into, Audra, guide them through the last minute paths here, and then we're gonna have to close this thing out. And I pray that everything we did up to that point of it going crazy, we got. So.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to do this again.
I mean,
sure.
If we want to do future episodes where we pick specific topics and, touch base on them, that would be great. We absolutely loved having you ladies on the show and, sharing your side of your practices. And I mean, we clearly, with everything that we have to discuss, we clearly don't have enough time, just one episode. So we will have to definitely plan more. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, David, and we will bid these beautiful ladies good night.
All right. Ladies, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your participation in the show tonight. It has been absolutely fascinating and fantastic, and you have been stellar guests. There's no other way to put it. Please note that we will definitely do this again. There is no doubt about it. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Please stay on while we close the show out. Don't get off yet because I want to talk to you afterwards. So I want you all to stay in the room, stay in the studio, and hang on until we're done. But once again, we're going to close the show. It has been fantastic. I'm exhausted. You know, one guy and 5 ladies. Man, that is a record for me. I tell you what, that's something to brag about. That's more than a record. That's like I'm writing letters to somebody. You know, somebody's going to get letters from me. You know, but you guys have been awesome. There's no other way to put it, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, folks, I think that's about it. Audra?
I mean, we can... I've got nothing left for tonight, so I think we need to... Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to tell them how to get a hold of us?
Absolutely. If you guys want to get in touch with us for future episodes, ideas, or just reach out with your stories, you can get at us at transcendingveils@gmail.com. You can also get at us at Instagram, Transcending Veils, Twitter, Transcending Veils, Facebook, Transcending Veils. You can also get in touch with us individually at Audra Moon on Instagram, Audra Moon _ technically, and Not Really Willy on Instagram. And with that, you guys have been fantastic. I'm so glad that you guys joined us for this show, and we look forward to the next show.
Also, if you care to get a hold of either one of our beautiful green witches we had on the show tonight, you can contact Tonya Steinborn at tonyasteinborn.com. That's Tonyasteinborn.com. Or you can contact Amy Murphy at everythingamy.ca. That's everythingamy.ca. And with that, guys, damn, it's been a marathon. One hell of a show tonight. I can't thank my guests enough. I can't thank you enough for tuning in. And as always, guys, keep it spooky.
Good night, guys.